As election day nears in California, I've got three stories the liberal media won't tell you that underscores just how corrupt California politicians have become. And one of the stories involves retaliation against Elon Musk simply because of his political views. All that and more coming up. I'm Carl DeMaio, chairman of Reform California, and California political leaders are absolutely corrupt to the core. We have a corrupt, broken system in California, and the liberal media out here refuses to tell you the truth. In fact, they're part of it. They benefit from it, and they enable it. I've got three stories I want to share with you as you're pondering this election. Because I think we need to really understand that the people we're dealing with, the people who are in power, they're not good people. They are corrupt to the core. They are liars, cheats, and thieves. And that, frankly, is perhaps as complimentary as you can get in describing them. So let me walk through these three stories. And I think it really does underscore the problems that we're having. First up is Elon Musk, okay? So we all know Elon Musk is angering the left. He started out kind of as the darling of the left. Remember, this is Elon Musk, the guy that, a decade ago said, look, we've got to switch to electric vehicles, and that's the wave of the future. And all the lefties said, oh, wonderful, let's give you all these government subsidies. You're so wonderful. Yes, Green New Deal. Yes, climate change, all that nonsense. So he did get a lot of government subsidies to start his electric vehicle company, Tesla. Since it's gone on to be quite successful, and he's become an amazing innovator on a number of fronts. But the left is now upset because he hasn't remained in the fold. He's actually expressing libertarian views. Frankly, I think he's always been a libertarian. The left simply kind of liked to pull out what they wanted out of him, and now they feel a little burned. So he took over Twitter and made that a free speech platform. And he's got his SpaceX company and doing all sorts of great stuff. But he has the audacity to say, well, I'm not going to vote Democrat this cycle. I'm going to contribute to Republicans, and I support President Trump. The horror. So as a result, Democrat politicians in California have weaponized government against him. And this is just pure and utter corruption. We covered this story earlier this week. Well, actually, let's start with the first story we covered just a few weeks ago. And that was Elon Musk retweeted a parody video that used artificial intelligence, basically simulating Kamala Harris's voice, narrating an ad that basically was truthful about all the failures of Kamala Harris. And it was a funny ad because it was her voice narrating it. And she was literally speaking the truth that we all know. Rather than lying to us with her word salad. Well, Gavin Newsom was so absolutely outraged that he said, I'm going to pass a law. I'm going to sign a law and we're going to prosecute people like Elon Musk. That's right. Elon Musk was threatened with criminal and civil sanctions in California simply for expressing his political views in a funny way. And the law has been signed into effect, carrying through on Gavin Newsom's threat. And immediately a federal judge issued a ruling saying the law was unconstitutional and put it on hold. So that was the first of many attacks against Elon Musk. Now, Elon Musk says, fine, I'm leaving the state of California. I'm moving the headquarters of my companies. I'm going to fund political campaigns against some of these crazy politicians. And now we have another round of retaliation. This time, his company, SpaceX, asked for permits to launch on behalf of the Biden administration's Department of Defense. So notice that the Department of Defense has signed off on SpaceX application for extra launches from Vandenberg Air Force Base here in California. Well, the California politicians vetoed those extra launches, which means that they are putting the Department of Defense in jeopardy with its program. Obviously, our space program is in jeopardy, and it's costing a bunch of jobs that were located in the SpaceX facilities here in California. So Elon Musk went before the Coastal Commission, and the Coastal Commissioners had the audacity to cite his political views as a reason why they were voting him down. Now, mind you, the California Coastal Commission Act does not allow coastal commissioners to consider anything but environmental issues when approving or rejecting permits. Nothing about these launches had anything to do with environment, and the commissioners did not cite the environment as their concern. They simply said, oh, he's wading into presidential politics. He tweets and we don't like it. Well, nice to know that you're saying the quiet part out loud, because that is illegal. That is corruption. For a government to say, if you oppose us in an election, if you don't have our political views, we will use the power of government to punish you, to penalize you, that is corruption personified. But the liberal media in California doesn't want to cover it. Well, Elon Musk has filed a lawsuit this week against the Coastal Commission, and he's going to win that lawsuit, but it will probably take several years. And in the meantime, the space program, the defense programs, and Californians wanting those jobs, they will suffer. But California liberal politicians, they don't give a rip. They just care about their politics and power. And the media, of course, doesn't care, because they don't want to hold these politicians accountable. The second story that illustrates, some of that, it's still in the first story. It's retaliation against Elon Musk. So the third thing that happened, and no one on the social media platforms are understanding how important this is, but I picked up on it, and I need you to understand how consequential this is and how corrupt this is, and what sort of impact you as a taxpayer in California will bear because of this retaliation against Musk. Elon Musk, who owns Tesla and X, is now being threatened with divestiture. That is basically a term where you have the government agencies that run the investment funds, because we have a number of pension funds. So they have government pension funds, and these pension funds are supposed to invest in the stock market in a very reasonable and appropriate way. Not too risky, but really trying to get the average of the market returns. That's what they're supposed to be doing. And without those returns on investment, we can't pay government pensions. And then what happens is, if there's market losses, if the market doesn't do as good as we were expecting, if we fall short of the market averages, then you, the taxpayer, have to make up the difference with billions and now trillions of dollars of unfunded government pension debt. And it's a topic we've covered on this show at length. So when these pension commissioners, who are appointed by government, they are government agents, okay? When they say that they're going to implement a social agenda in determining where they're going to invest, what it could mean is that they're not investing in companies that are giving the maximum return to taxpayers, which means we're going to have losses, which means pensions are threatened, as well as taxpayers are on the hook for paying out billions of dollars in the losses. So now the California State Comptroller, Malia Cohen, big old Democrat liberal, has gone to the Public Employees Retirement System of California, and she's demanding that they divest all of their stock holdings in Tesla. Sell all those stock holdings. Now, this is not the first time California liberal politicians have tried to use the pension system as a weapon against their political opponents. They've said, let's not have any investments in oil and gas companies. And they've threatened other companies to go along with woke ideology programs and to donate only to left-wing causes in order to get investment capital. It's illegal. It's extortion, and it hurts taxpayers. What happens if CalPERS and CalSTRS, the two largest government pension programs in California, what happens when those government pension programs divest of Tesla? Well, let me share with you what happens. Tesla is a massive percentage of the S&P 500 index. It's one of the top 10. So here are the top 10 stocks for S&P 500. And you got Apple, and they're worth 7% of the entire index. So if you get rid of Apple, then you're going to lose out on 7% of the S&P. 6.5% for Microsoft. Amazon is 3.2%. 2.84 is NVIDIA. Alphabet, 2.14. Tesla, 1.87. Now you might say, well, 1.87 isn't a lot. Guess what? These stocks tend to be the biggest growers in the S&P 500. They're the fastest growing companies. They're the ones that actually in the last year produced almost the entirety of the S&P 500's uptick. And all the market returns came about because of a handful of companies growing their value over the past year. You take away one of those companies, and you're going to have a massive slide in your investment returns. And what happens in the pension programs of the state of California government? You, the taxpayer, will have billions of dollars in losses. Cohen says that she's sick and tired of Tesla, that they're not doing enough for social equity, diversity and inclusion. Remember, these are the same people that said, don't invest in oil and gas because we want non-carbon based investments. Again, liberals don't have any sort of coherency on their philosophy. They're vindictive. So whoever they have an angry chip on the shoulder with this week, they're just going to vehemently, spit venom at them and retaliate against them and say that somehow that what they're doing is morally correct and woke and appropriate, when in fact, you're just being a big old bully. And that's what's happening here with the retaliation against Musk. It's corruption. It's not just bad government. It's corruption, and we should call it out for what it is. Another example of corruption, in Fullerton, a Democrat was caught engaging in election fraud. Oh, but you're not going to hear a whole lot about this one. Fullerton City Council candidate accused of falsifying nomination paperwork. So this guy, Scott Markowitz, is a big old liberal Democrat, and he was filed at the last moment for the District 4 seat in Fullerton, claiming to be a Republican. He switched parties, and then he ran on a platform as a MAGA Republican to try to split the vote from the real Republican in the race to benefit a Democrat running for office. Well, and by the way, technically that's not illegal to be lying. It happens all the time in politics, sadly. But what happened was the district attorney's office found out that Mr. Markowitz, working with the former staff director at the Democrat Party of Orange County, they falsified his signatures for his nomination to run for the office. He perjured himself by signing affidavits saying that he collected the signatures and witnessed voters signing his nomination forms, when in fact the Democrats went out for this Republican candidate to file him for office. And the voters who signed those papers came back and said, I never met Mr. Markowitz. He did not witness my signature, but he's lying on the paperwork saying that he did. He's been charged with felonies, as well he should. This is corruption. This is the dirty nature of politics, but you're not going to hear about this. And remember, the Democrats always say, you don't have to worry about illegal immigrants filing for voter registration because they have to sign under penalty of perjury that they're actually citizens. And nobody would do that because remember, we don't actually check the citizenship status of these people. It's all the honor system. Well, Democrat elected officials would do that. Again, it's so easy. It's like shooting fish in a barrel. Corruption. Finally, the big controversy that blew up about a year and a half ago, where a couple Democrat city council members in Los Angeles were caught on a hot mic, not even a hot mic, on a secret audio tape, at a labor union office, engaging in the most racist, despicable commentary about blacks and Jews and all the, Asians, just awful, awful, awful racist comments. Well, the politicians, two of which were taken out of office, one of which, Kevin De Leon, is still trying to run for office. And a lot of Democrats are supporting him, which is sickening, shows how hypocritical they are on racism. Anyway, those politicians, instead of being responsible for their racism and apologizing and going quietly, said, we were secretly recorded. That's a crime. That's right. They were caught as racists. And what was their response? Someone did something to us. We're crime victims. We were recorded secretly spewing our actual racist views. I'd like to thank the people that recorded them and put that out there for public dissemination. Well, thankfully, the two individuals suspected of recording the conversation and leaking it are not going to face charges. The city attorney says, well, we don't have enough evidence to prove the case. You shouldn't have even taken the case in the first place. I know that people are saying, well, if it's a wrong, if it violates the law to record people, then, well, you know what? I think there's a good Samaritan element here. If someone finds a politician engaging in heinous misconduct, and the public has a right to know, and we need to be protected from a bunch of racist hate mongers, and that's what they are, racist hate mongers, Democrat politicians who spew this sort of rhetoric. They need to be exposed. Again, I can hear the other side and the argument, but the corruption here, it's not the two people who recorded. The corruption is that the city attorney's office actually tried to go after these people. And the corruption is, well, the politicians who are racists who say that they were the crime victims. That's corruption. Nobody wants to cover this in mainstream media in California. A few outlets do, like Fox 11, which I would encourage you in LA, just tune into Fox 11. And up in Sacramento, just watch Ashley Zavala. Those are the only, well, not the only, but two really good reporters or outlets. But I'll tell you, we're not going to hear about these multitude of stories. And these are just three I'm sharing with you leading up to the election. There are so many other examples of outright corruption and how our system is completely broken in California. I want to encourage all of you to go to the website reformcalifornia.org, continue to use our plain English voter guide, which gives you a plain English description of all of the measures on your ballot. Give that to your friends, family, and neighbors, and it will help them vote the right way in this election. Plus, remember, we do make endorsements in all the candidate races, all the way down to school board and judge race at reformcalifornia.org. Click under voter guides. Please chip in a contribution. We need your help in this election. There are only a matter of days left for us to get out the vote. And every dollar you contribute is helping us reach voters in these final days to stop tax hikes and, of course, lift our entire team of endorsed candidates through our voter guides. Until next time, Carl DeMaio, Chairman of Reform California. Thanks for watching, and I hope you enjoyed this episode. But before you click away, please subscribe to this channel and click that notification button so you get updated when we post new episodes. Plus, like this video and share it with your friends so that we can help spread our message across the state. Reform California with Carl DeMaio is paid for by Carl DeMaio for State Assembly.